Hey everybody, this is Dr. Chris Dost. Welcome back to my Reading Biblical Hebrew series. Today we're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 3 and verse 2. Before we begin, however, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I would really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, as that's going to help me get the word out about this channel to others on YouTube. All right, let's get started. Okay, so we'll begin by reading the text. Here we have the text as it's found in Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia and in most Hebrew Bibles. Vayera malach Adonai elav belabat esh mitoch hasneh. Vayar vehene hasneh borer ba'esh vehasneh einenu ukal. And now slowly. Vayera malach Adonai elav belabat esh mitoch hasneh, vayar, vehene, hasneh borer, ba'esh, vehasneh, einenu, ukal. So the first word of the text is vayera, vayera. And I imagine that to many beginner biblical Hebrew students, this is a less familiar vocalization pattern. And so let's take a look at that. Before I give you the answer, however, I want you to try to analyze the form. What is the root of this verb? And remember, one of the keys to identifying roots is by chopping off prefixes and suffixes and trying to get it down to a three-consonantal or tri-consonantal root. So you might recognize that the vav with the patach at the beginning, followed by a dagesh, is a sign that we're dealing with a vav consecutive form. And then you may recognize that when yud is the first letter, sometimes it can be a root letter, but oftentimes it is a third masculine singular, or sometimes a third person plural, personal prefix. So with that information, can you determine what the root is? And as you can see here, it is resh aleph he, resh aleph he, or you can say resh aleph yud. We'll get into that some other time. But this is one of the first verbs that you probably learned when you were beginning biblical Hebrew. And in the call form, it is often translated as to see, to see. Now, I assume that many of those watching this video have never really worked with some of the better Hebrew lexica or dictionaries. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes to walk you through this entry so that you become accustomed to what kind of information you will encounter when you look up a verbal root in a Hebrew lexicon. So at the top, in the first circle that I've added to the page, you will see the root, resh aleph he, and then there is a lot of comparative Semitics information, which is too much for a video like this. I'll get into that some other time. But then down in the second paragraph here where you see the second red circle, it says kal. That's the basic stem, the G stem, different names for it, but that is the most basic Hebrew stem. And you can see to the right of kal, PF period, which I've encircled, and that means the perfect, or as I prefer to call it, the suffix conjugation. And then all of the forms that show up in the Hebrew scriptures are listed here. And then if you go down to the fourth line, you'll see another red circle that I've added, and it says IMPF. That's the imperfect or the prefix conjugation, what some of you may think of as the present future tense, even though it's a little bit more complex than that. And as you scroll down, you'll see suffixed forms, the imperative forms, and so on and so forth. If we zoom in on the imperfect of the kal stem, you will see the form vayara, vayara, which we encountered in this text. And so we're going to come back. And so back in the text, we have vayera, which means and he appeared, and he appeared. And as we would expect in biblical Hebrew, when we begin a verse with a vav consecutive, the subject often follows. So what is the subject of this sentence? It is the word malach, vayera malach. Now malach is a term meaning messenger, often translated angel, but its root meaning is messenger. But however you render it here, the lexical form has a kamatz, that is the long A vowel, under the aleph. But that's not what we encounter here in Exodus 3:2. The form has a patach, and that is a short A vowel. And that's because malach in this text is a construct noun. It's a masculine singular construct noun, which means we need to translate it as the messenger of. The messenger of. And so that begs the question, the messenger of what, or the messenger of whom? And here we come to Adonai. This is officially known as the Tetragrammaton, Yud, He, Vav, He. The most authentic pronunciation for which would be something like Yahweh. Over the years, certain Bible translations have misrepresented this form as Jehovah. Jehovah is not actually a Hebrew word at all. There is no such word. But it does come from this form here. And so we'll follow the custom of translating God's name as the Lord, even though Yahweh is actually the name. So instead of saying the messenger of Yahweh or the angel of Yahweh, we'll say the messenger of the Lord, and that's just out of respect to religious traditions that like to avoid pronouncing the name of God out of reverence. So far what we have is Malach Adonai, the messenger of the Lord appeared. The messenger of the Lord appeared. So then we come to Elav. And notice that this sign that I'm covering up right there is an accent sign, a cantillation mark that is not a vowel. So this is going to be read Elav. The Yud is silent, so we're not going to pronounce that. And when we have the preposition El plus Yud Vav after it, the Yud Vav is a third masculine singular pronominal suffix meaning him. So to him. So the messenger of the Lord appeared to him. That is Moses. The messenger of the Lord appeared to him. Vayera malach Adonai elav. And now we come down to the next line, and we have bilabat esh. The ba is a preposition meaning in. Labat is the feminine singular construct form of the noun laba, which means flame. So in a flame of esh, fire, in a flame of fire. Now the reason why this is a flame of and not the flame of is because the following noun is not definite. It is indefinite, and therefore it's in a flame of fire, whereas with Malach Adonai, this is the messenger or the angel of the Lord, because Yud He Vav He is a name and therefore is definite. So far we have Vayera Malach Adonai Lav Bilabat Esh, and the angel of the Lord, or the messenger of the Lord, appeared to him in a flame of fire. Now here's the text in the Leningrad Codex. You may be interested to compare what you find in the printed edition with what shows up, what's actually there in the manuscript. So you're welcome to look through that and pause the recording and have a gander. And that's zooming in on Exodus 3:2. And you see that the verse begins right after the Sof Pasuk. That's the two vertical dots that kind of looks like a colon, which comes after the word choreva, the last word from Exodus 3:1, which we discussed in the previous video. And this verse ends at the Sof Pasuk after the word ukal. To view the entire video, please be sure to go to my website, www.learnbiblicallanguages.com. www.learnbiblicallanguages.com.